So, as some people may know, some people may not, it is quite tropical in Minnesota right now. Currently it's probably like 45 degrees out. It's been raining though, so that's kind of gross. But so I'm down at the gravel pit. This here's the Liebherr. I call them Liebherrs, but whatever. Anyways, got this bad boy, and I'm gonna change the oil in it because it needs to be changed, right? So that's what I'm gonna do today. Take advantage of this nice, sloppy, warm weather we're having, and I'm gonna get some stuff done that, you know, would normally be a rush thing, last minute thought. So I'm trying to get some, you know, stuff done outside while it's still nice. And just so happens this needs oil changed. So in order to do that, I'm gonna have to waddle underneath here. See this plate? That's gotta be undone. And then that'll give us access to the filters and the drain plug. And then I gotta find a jug for the used oil. I'm sure there's one floating around here. I had a jug on the excavator at one point. We'll have to check, see what the deal is with that. But either way, brought my zip gun or my impact. I'll take those out, drop the plate, and we'll be in. Due to movie magic, it's running. The oil was changed. It was so miserable. This is probably the worst experience I've had doing an oil change. Hopefully, if next time we go to do it, it's not such a pain in the buttocks. But it was dirty, messy, and just not pleasant. Somebody has installed a drain plug on this that you have to have a screw-in piece that makes it so that it releases oil after you take the cap off. Of course, we don't have that piece with the machine, so I had to shove a vice grips up in there and clamp it on. It took quite a while to drain the oil, but I did get the oil drained. I got the filter changed, new oil's in it. It's running. I'm gonna dig a little bit today, just to, work her out a little bit. We have this tropical weather, like I was saying before, so trying to take advantage of it a little bit. As you can see, we dug, there's a whole bunch of material sitting up right now. So I'm trying to get a little bit of a head start on next year, because it seems like when it comes to this kind of stuff, we're always behind, and then it becomes almost easier to just go to a different pit and get it. But at the end of the day, the material out of this pit, you're selling the material and the trucking. You're not just selling the trucking, so you're getting money on both ends. It works out good. That's the whole reason that we have this machine sitting in this pit. So either way, we're gonna get some material stacked up. We got some projects back at the house that we're looking to do at some point. We're talking about putting a large gravel pad in. Besides, I also want to build a big parking lot between the shop and the house. But we're going to put another pad up out in the field that we would have like bulk material sitting on, the stuff that we sometimes can't get certain times of the year, and we end up missing out on, project opportunities because the material's not available at the pit that it's in, whatever. And then we can also do some retail sale at home, skid loader buckets in somebody's pickup for $30 or whatever like that. So that's kind of what we're looking at doing in the spring, setting up a pad like that. It could also be used down the road to put, who knows, we can put salt on it or whatever if we end up putting a salt shed up. But either way, this is what we're looking at. This is what I got done today. We'll see if Alexis is happy about that. There's a lot of projects in the house, but why waste time in the house when the weather's nice enough to be doing stuff like this? Even though this was miserable, I'm not even gonna lie, it was a bummer. But it's done now, and it was something that needed to get done. Machine maintenance, obviously that's stuff that needs to get done. And I got some other stuff at home that needs maintenance too, but we got this winter for that, so that's what winter's for, I guess. All right, so I got the 279 G3 in the shop, warming up. I am going to look at potentially changing the fluid and the finals on this machine, as well as some other maintenance. I might look at also changing the oil, because it's been, well, it's got 300 hours on it right now, 500-hour intervals, but either way, I don't think it hurts. We'll see how I'm feeling about it. And then I ordered a whole bunch of filters for the Mini here. Fuel filter, fuel water separator, oil filter, obviously. And then there's also, tucked up back in here, they call it a pilot line filter. And that is for the hydraulics. So I also have one of them to change. In order to get to that, we gotta go and undo that. And then these two bolts here as well. This panel, this whole panel comes off, and then I have access to, there's a hydraulic valve bank tucked up in there, and I'll change that filter out as well. And then I'm also going to do the final drives on this machine. It has 200 and some hours on it, so it's about time for the break-in, like changing that stuff, as well as obviously why we're going to do it on the Cat. So we're kind of just working on some maintenance stuff around the house. We got our new welder, still haven't set it up. I think I need to build a welding cart for it though, so that's another project. We have this all torn apart. Our other project, I need to unbolt this side, set it up on these boards like what I did with that side, and weld those on. And then once I get that on, then I'm gonna drill holes through it, and then drill holes in the concrete to get some new anchors, and add, I think, probably 4 anchors on each side. After that's done, I might look at extending some posts, building something that bolts to the top of this, or the side, you know, on the back side there, bolts to the back side on here, goes up, and then connects it so that these arms can't necessarily flex in, because that's obviously what we're seeing for a problem. I'm just trying to make it essentially as rigid as I can in order to be able to put my my trucks on it. It's a 10 or 11,000 pound lift. I think it's 11,000 pounds. At least that's what the rating was, you know, when we purchased it. But it's obviously, we're, you know, oversizing it. Better safe than sorry. And it's kind of where I'm at on that. We'll see if I get to it. It'd be nice, because I'd like to have my lift back to do oil changes, and I have some work to do on the Ram work truck. I need to add some airbags on it, and I should rotate the tires. And then I'll have to do fuel filters, so it's nice to be able to get it up in the air. So either way, got plenty to do. And, you know, I got time to do it, but sometimes it's just hard to do those, you know, those maintenance things. It's just a drag, right? But we'll get to that. And yeah, see what we got going on here. Kind of showed you this before, but we notched these out. That'll be for the side that's not done yet. And I did list my ESOB here for sale on Marketplace without the tank, because I'm keeping that for the new welder. But it's been a good welder. It's just time to update, and you can't beat the price on the Prime Weld stuff, so try it out. I've read really good things about that Prime Weld welder. Keeping up with millers and stuff in a shop setting, you know, like an actual fabrication shop setting. So I have high hopes for what we have going on here. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. With some of the other videos you've seen, there's stuff piled here, so I cleaned that out. I had a bulk tank for when my dad was farming, so our spare bulk tank. I got that all put back together, and I actually sold it because it was for a long bed. Currently I have a short bed. If I buy tanks in the future, I'm probably gonna go to aluminum and all that good stuff, but whatever. So I sold that tank, cleared up some space. I had also purchased a snowplow, a snow dog 810, so it had like the wings that widened out on it. So that was sitting here for about a week. It sold within a day of listing it. The guy didn't come back to get it until a week later, but that's gone now, so that's cool. We'll see, maybe Alexis will throw some photos in here, and because I have photos from the sale post. Alright, so out in the shop again, and I just pulled the second post off of the bolts that are in the ground there. I have it sitting up on these 2x4s, and the reason that I pulled it out of the ground, put it up on the 2x4s, is because if I were to do all that welding right on the concrete, most likely it's gonna, spall and blow chunks out, and it won't be any good. So, pulled it up. I'm gonna weld those other pieces on, like what I did with the other side. And I don't know if I'll get to it today or not, but it's pulled off now. It's ready to be, clean up the edges along there, spray some brake clean on it, because at one point I had a can of used gear oil that was just kind of sitting there because I never moved it. Someone came over to use the lift and spilt the oil all over the place. That's on me, I guess, a little bit, but whatever. I used the lift for 3 years like that and never spilt a can of oil, but eventually your luck runs out, right? So I'll clean that up. I have those other pieces over here. They're cut out for it. I haven't, what I'll do is get that all ground up, take those pieces, bring them over, and I'll make sure that they are going to fit decent, and if I need to do some grinding, whatever, to get them to fit nice and tight. And then I'll spot weld it, and then I'll weld it, put it back down. And at this point, like I've mentioned before, I'm kind of at the point where I think I'm going to end up putting another bar up on each side above where it would lift whatever vehicle, above that lift height, just so like we're not ramming into a bar or something up there, but put that up there for extra support. We'll see how this all goes, see what I think of it with my pickup on it once this is done. And if I think I need to reinforce it more, then I need to reinforce it, right? So we'll try that out. So we're using our handy dandy magnetic drill that we picked up. Was something that we had purchased. It was thrown in with the deal, and it works. It's got those slug bits in it. Whoops. I only ruined one so far, so that's good. So 2 drilled on each plate, both sides. So there will be 8 more concrete anchors going in. And then once I get that done, kind of see how I'm feeling, but I might just kind of cut this off with the cut-off wheel, cut that off, just to compact it in. And I'll do it on the inside here as well, potentially. I'm waiting to see how the concrete anchors suck that plating down, because if the plates suck down nice to the concrete floor, I won't worry about it. I only ruined one of these because I went too far through the hole and hit the concrete with it. So they're really nice bits, if there's not concrete below it. I don't know if I can sharpen that or not, but it looks like a new set's probably 60 to 140, depending on which one you get. But I might actually look into like some name brand bits for it. The drill works nice. We have old Black & Decker magnetic drill and they're slick to have. That one's old, so it's heavy as all can be. This thing, nice and lightweight. You can lift it with one hand, and it works good. So I'm happy with that. That was definitely a cool thing to get thrown in on a deal, you know. It's not the biggest one that Vevor makes. I think it's like the medium-sized one as far as wattage goes. I tried putting diesel motor oil in it for the oil, and it was too thick for that system. So I might put tranny fluid in it. Otherwise, I've just been putting diesel oil in that and squirting it as I go. But I got all my holes drilled. Now I just need to go to Menards, get a 1/2-inch concrete bit. I think 1/2 inch is the size I decided on. And then after that, I gotta drill these out. I'll blow them out with air, and then I'll pound the concrete anchors in, and that's gonna add a lot of rigidity to this system we got going here. All right, I got the plates welded on both sides, and I got the holes drilled through the steel. So now I just need to go get a concrete bit like tomorrow or something, and then drill the concrete, and then get concrete anchors too. And then I can put those in, and then this part of it will be done, and I can at least get the car and stuff back in here and work on it, and maybe my truck, I don't know. Guess I can see how it flexes and stuff now. So I went and bought this Bauer hammer drill from Harbor Freight today because I have like one of them handheld hammer drills, DeWalt, but it really wasn't enough to do what we were trying to do. Tried to buy a DeWalt hammer, like a hammer drill like this, but that didn't work out. So I got this one, and luckily I already have a adapter for it to run the DeWalt batteries, so that worked out nice. That worked good. It took about, well, I used a dead battery to start, but I got 2 holes drilled out of a dead battery, and then I used a fresh battery. I got the rest of the holes drilled. She still got 2 bars of power, so that's good. But holes drilled in the concrete as well. Got the anchors down, pounded in, tightened them, and she's a lot sturdier than what it was. But I'm thinking we might still, like I've been talking about, add a bar up on each side and hook it together in the middle, because I think in the long run, sturdier the better, right? So that's kind of what I'm thinking here. But we'll see. I got some, I believe I got like some 2-inch tube out at the farm that would work. Quite a bit of it actually. So that's an option that I'm thinking about. Otherwise, I have I got some I-beam outside, some smaller stuff that would work as well. I just have to weld some pieces on each side here going up, and then one long one across. But I need to figure out how high I need to extend these sides in order to not lift a truck cab up into it and crush it. So that's my next deal, is figuring out height to cut the extensions out of. But as of right now, I got this done. It's definitely overbuilt from what it was. Possibly a little too much. Like I said, I might end up cutting these down a little bit. We'll see. I want to see how far these come down in the arms to see if there would be room to add another set of bolts, you know, one out here further, but we'll see how that works out. As of right now, it's definitely a lot stronger than it was, so that's what we were going for anyways, right? Alright, so, well, another day. Yesterday we were working on the lift. We got those plates down, all that good stuff. And today, well, last night too, after I was done with that. So, this machine, 250 hours. You have to drain the drives on each side and put fresh oil in them. So I did that last night. I just did the fuel filter on this machine, our New Holland E37C, as well as this pilot filter in here, because it's at that 250 hour mark, so that's like the break-in, whatever. The oil got changed, 125 hours. It's at 250 now. I think I'm going to let it go to 500, although I have the stuff to do it. I'm just, you know, guess it wouldn't be the worst deal to change it, since it's been almost 2 years, but the machine doesn't get a lot of hours put on it. But either way, I know you should change over a period of time, all that good stuff. So we'll see. There's also a filter in the tank, the return filter, but there's conflicting information upon that filter between the book and the service instructions on the door. Service instructions on the door. So this is the one that I changed: pilot line filter, hydraulic oil return filter, and then it says change and replace at 1,000 hours rather than the 250. So I'm going to call the dealer about that and see what their thoughts are on it, because I need another filter if I am going to change it. But I am going to also change the oil out of the drives on this machine, because that's a 250 hour mark service, you know, the initial service, and then after that I think they stay every 500 or every 1,000 hours. That machine, they think every 500 hours. So we'll see, maybe I'll do it every 500 hours. You'll see there is also a fuel water separator. I have a new one, but that doesn't have to be necessarily replaced, just drained. You could probably clean it, all that good stuff. But either way, we're going to work on draining out these hubs. So back in the shop again. It did snow last night, but only like maybe half an inch. And anything that I'm plowing is, you know, a 2-inch plus sort of deal. So got a neighbor, brought over his truck, and he's got a brake line that went bad, and then a coolant leak. So the coolant leak, I'm thinking, is probably something to do with the intake gaskets or something, because there's coolant like all around the motor, not just in one side. We originally noticed it was dripping on the manifold. So, but I'm leaning more towards it being something up in the intake valley leaking. So I don't know if he's going to want to fix that or not right now. But I'm going to get this brake line fixed for him today. I have it cut out because if you know how it goes in the Rust Belt, everything rots. So the brake line rotted out. That's what happened here. So I'm going to replace the steel line. Somebody had already replaced this once. So I got their union apart, and then I'll add a new chunk of line off of their union. It's not a compression fitting, it's an actual union, so that's good. So I will be adding on to that. New line, I'm going to put copper nickel in, because they don't rot out, or they don't rot out right away like what a steel line would. Used to use like a lot of the grease stick, whatever, but that it rots out. That's what was on here. That's what rotted out. I didn't do the first time. The neighbor actually recently purchased this, and the neighbor is actually like 5 miles away. Still neighbor. He lives next to the family farm, and he needs some help, so I'm going to help him out here. But you know, Minnesota, Midwest, it gets crunchy out here on the underside. So either way, it is, like you can see the residue, that line blew out. I'm gonna end up replacing the rubber line to the rear end as well because it's so rotted out I can't get it apart. So I'm gonna end up having to cut it, take it out, go get a new one. I want to make sure I can get a new one before I get too far into that. We also have so that'll get replaced. And then I also noticed he has a wheel seal leak in here. That's unfortunate. I'm gonna let him know about it. I'm not gonna fix it right now because I'll be leaving out of town. I'm trying to just get this done this weekend so he's got something to drive to work at this point. But there is a couple things that he should have fixed on it. I don't know if he cares enough to have it fixed or not. The coolant leak, we're gonna have to look into that more and see what's going on there because that's not gonna be a good deal. You know, these trucks, I believe it's got the 4 liter in it. It's got aluminum heads, so if you overheat it, you could warp the heads and it'll be a bad day. So either way, that's what we're working on today. I'm gonna stop recording. I'm gonna go look for parts to make sure that I can get this rubber line and all that good stuff today.